Hello y'all, this is Chant of the Forgotten, a mod for Hearts of Iron 4 that adds new focus trees to several countries in Asia, including a large amount of Chinese warlords. We're going to play as the Guangxi clique, which at this point in time is the new Guangxi clique, since the old one sort of fell apart in the early 1920s. For national spirits, we begin with anti-centralization sentiment, opium suppression offices, and opium incomes. As far as the army goes, we got 9 divisions and they are all infantry. Looking at our army commanders, we got a good amount of generals and a single field marshal, which is fine for our starting military. Going through the technology, we should be very capable because we have gun. We could continue Li's governance and go down his paths, but instead of doing that, let's recall Zhao Hingti, and once this focus is done, Zhao will become the new country leader. Let's start building up our army by creating more infantry units. They're only 8 width due to their base template, but they will have to do for the time being. The recall is complete and the Federalist Guangxi War starts between Zhao and Li, who views the return of Zhao as treason because of the actions in his past. This is the beginning of a civil war in southern China. Due to this event, we get a national spirit and some states become demilitarized zones. In Japan, the young officer coup who wanted to give more power to the emperor has failed. Because of the leader change, we are now known as the Guangxi Federation and we got a new flag. As for our leader himself, he has the trait Federalist Dreamer, which gives us stability and more political power gain. Who is Zhao Hingti historically? He was a general and warlord in Hunan who advocated for a Federalist constitution and was removed from power in Hunan in 1926. He left politics and the military after being deposed, but would have returned to politics in 1939. He would later join KMT leaders in exile in Taiwan 10 years later. For the long-term plan and our political path, we'll go with the Federal Army, promise a better future, make a deal with Long Yun, and then after that offer a peaceful reunification, which if all goes well we should expand greatly. Before we can do the last 3 focuses I mentioned, we need to get rid of the Federalist Guangxi War national spirit first. The Civil War is represented through decisions, which the first one we have to do is take the Gore River. All of our divisions are prepared and ready to do it. Once it is finished, Guangxi will no longer be a demilitarized zone. Since we got to sort out the internal conflict in our country, let's move to another branch in the focus tree and begin to reactivate our economy. We're at the next phase of the Civil War. This time we encircle Guilin after putting 6 divisions in the state of Guangxi. The next part, we got to shell Nanning, but to do that we got to buy artillery from either the Germans, British, or French, so let's pick one of the 3 to get those big guns. France was chosen, but to get the things we need from the French, we got to improve our relations with them quite a bit. We got the artillery and have started shelling Nanning. Once that is complete, 2 states will no longer be demilitarized zones. We will also get army experience and political power. After all the fighting and decision taking, we can finally say the Federalists have won and Li Zongren will no longer be a problem to us, which allows us to get rid of the Civil War related national spirit. In the focus tree, we did invite foreign investors, but since we're finally at peace, we can move back to the political branch again and do promise a better future. With that focus complete, our name changes to the Federated Provinces of China and our flag becomes something different. In the decisions tab, we have unlocked access to the Chinese power struggle category, where we will attempt to build up support and eventually take political control away from the other China. We gain support in Guizhou. Ultimately, we got to get more political support points than our opponent, and once that process is over, we can take national leadership from them, which will let us steer the country into whatever direction we want it to go. We made a deal with Long Yun. Due to that, we annexed Yunnan, which eliminates one of our possible competitors in the region. Offer a peaceful reunification is completed, which is very good for us since we annexed Xinjiang, Zhaibi, Sanma, and Shaanxi. On top of that, their armies are now part of our own. Let's upgrade our main infantry units to 20 width in size. It will be only infantry and nothing more, so all we'll need basically is rifles and manpower, which we have plenty of. We continue the Chinese power struggle. We are gaining more points at a fast pace. If this rate goes on, we should be able to overtake our rivals soon. We're doing more industrial oriented focuses in the tree, such as give them an opportunity, education improvements, increase our military capacity, expand our arsenals, weapon research, and last but not least, reconcile with the Air Force. To give us the edge we need in the power struggle, we are giving aid to the warlord states we absorbed, which hopefully will give us the points we need to take national leadership. Japan is doing something. That something is they are justifying a war goal on China, so that gives us a little pressure to become one big united country. Otherwise, we may have to fight the Japanese military in a few months. We're ready to take national leadership. Upon doing so, we will annex all of China if they accept. If they decline, we go to war. Chiang Kai-shek submits and transfers power to Zhao Hingti. We grow by a large amount and their soldiers become our own, greatly expanding the size of the Federated Province's army. With all of our growth, we have a grand total of 131 divisions. If we get our army to full strength, it will have more than 1 million manpower deployed in the field. We were going to increase our military capacity. It will have to wait for later because we will do the focus conquer the illegitimates, which will give us war goals on Japanese puppets and communist China. Zhao Hingti takes national leadership in China. This event more or less tells us the transition of power has been fairly smooth, with no kind of violence being reported. Germany wants us to sign the Anti-Comintern Pact. Yeah, no thanks, angering the USSR at this point in time isn't worth it. We are going to attack communist China. The strategy is to just let their troops do whatever in the west until they are spread out from each other a good amount. Then we will surround them with 3 armies. We do this because if we assaulted them head on, it would be a war of attrition that would take very long. Communist forces did as expected for the next phase. We will begin encircling them and break through any gaps in their defensive lines. Just going to trot a cavalry division into the communist Chinese capital while no one defends it. We have won, we will annex their land. This gives us peace of mind as they could have potentially gone to war with us later. Japan has started justifying a war goal on us, not really surprising considering we are China now. At the very least, they will have a very tough war when they do invade. Due to poor Sino-German relations, Germany recalls their advisors from our country. No huge loss there. In the focus tree, we got around to increasing our military capacity. Now we are doing peace at last, which to be honest, that would be pretty short-lived. In Europe, Austria got Angelus, but more relevant to us is the second Chinese elections, the geologist versus the Federalist general. Let's go with the latter. The country leader will not change. What did change is Zhao Hingti's portrait. He has more of a civilian look now. Let's continue down our political focus path by doing the port solution literacy campaign and a Chinese army. This last focus will give us a nice national spirit that will improve our divisions. The port solution is done and the Munich Agreement occurs in Europe. Neville Chamberlain of the United Kingdom says it is peace for our time. The autonomous Chinese ports have been established. They take control of places like Macau and Hong Kong. They are also our subject. Japan declared war on us. They basically did it right after the justification was finished. We go on the offensive into the state of Shandong, which is currently held by the Japanese. Enemy forces land near Shanghai. They take a couple provinces but were unable to capture a port, depriving them of any supply they desperately need to succeed. Romania joined the Allies and so did Yugoslavia, the latter which got into a war with Italy, meaning the Italians have to fight the entire faction. France went with the Bonaparte route and they got their eyes set on the British because they want to avenge Waterloo. We managed to get into the Allies. We'll use this as an opportunity to call in some help, especially from the nearby British Raj. Japan sends another naval invasion. We stopped them before they could gain any more ground. As long as we can keep them away from ports, the Japanese are just going to lose units in these operations. Over in Europe, the Netherlands joined our faction and they're fighting the French Empire, who doesn't seem satisfied enough with their current wars because now they want to have a go at Germany. France joined the Japanese faction. Our war with them gives us a reason to go south and take their holdings in Indochina. They're probably too distracted with the war at home anyway. Our ally, Belgium, is just going crazy fighting our European enemy. It is absolutely amazing. They are pushing hard. They are pretty close to Paris too. They went and did it. The French Empire declared war on the German Reich, who was pretty quick to call in Hungary to the conflict. Besides just fighting France and Japan, the Germans have to face the Allies faction for some reason, perhaps something to do with Poland. After these isolated divisions are destroyed, it is safe to say we have secured French Indochina as a whole. In the focus tree, let's do the focuses: industrialize our country, prestigious universities, and after that move to another part to the right and start British cooperation. France got carved up, the Axis has expanded, and it looks like Germany has their eyes set on Switzerland, who is surrounded on all sides by Axis members. Siam joined up with Japan. We'll just let them do whatever and hope the British can stop them, since we're completely devoted to trying to stop the Japanese in China and won't be sending much aid down there unless it becomes a mess. Surprise betrayal by Manchukuo, who became Jing China. That's only good news for us because they'll be fighting Japan too. The bad news for the Jing though is the fact they're still at war with all the allies, including us. We're advancing deep into northern China. On the downside, however, is is the constant naval invasions going on to the south that require a lot of divisions to be handled. As far as the war effort goes, Southeast Asia has morphed into a disaster we let go unchecked for a while. We have sent troops to our current front lines to go on the offensive in the region. Jing China has been defeated and annexed. This will free up divisions to be sent elsewhere and open up a path to attack Japanese-held Korea. After many battles, Japan calls for peace. We'll say the war has been won and accept. They will also give us Taiwan. With the peace deal worked out, besides getting pieces of China proper, we also gained all of Korea, parts of Vietnam, and Laos. The video is going to end here. If you enjoyed the mod, make sure to check it out in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, have an awesome day. I'll see y'all later. Bye.